Hello student, today I am going to start a new chapter. It's called vector. Okay, this is totally new for you. Every physical quantity can be divided into two broad categories. One is called scalar and another is called vector quantities. Now what is scalar quantities? You already know, I think. Scalar quantities, those quantities which have only magnitude, it does not possess any direction, are called scalar quantities. And vector quantities, those quantities which possess both magnitude and direction, are called vector quantities. Now example of scalar quantities like mass, then volume, length, these are the scalar quantities. Means if I say the volume of this cube is 10 means 10 meter cube, then it is enough. We need not to say the direction with this. No, it is not attached to any direction. But if I say in case of vector, it possesses both magnitude and direction. If I say the force applying on this particle is 10 Newton, but then only one question arises: in which direction? So we have to say both magnitude and direction. If I say the force applying on this particle is along the east direction, okay, and 10 Newton eastward, okay. So we have to say both magnitude and direction as well as direction. So this type of quantities are called vector quantities, okay. Now, so vector, every physical quantity can be categorized into two. One is called scalar, another is called vector. Mass, length, volume, distance, weight, force, velocity, displacement. Okay, these are the examples. Example of scalar quantity: mass, length, volume, distance, and vector: weight, force, velocity, and displacement. Okay, because now we specially discuss about vectors. Okay, now how we represent the vector quantities. Okay, so to represent the vector quantity, either we have to use bold letter or we have to put and draw and write a letter and then arrow over it like this. If A is a vector quantity, then we have to write A like this, bold letter, bold capital A. Example, we know force is a vector quantity. It possesses both direction, magnitude and direction. So we have to represent it bold A letter, okay, capital A. Or it is not possible always. Now, or we can represent this vector quantity like this. A, suppose A is a vector quantity, we have to write A letter, capital A letter over A arrow. It means it is a vector quantity, okay. Similar, F is a vector quantity, force is a vector quantity. So we have to write force like this. Just write capital A and over we have to draw a arrow. It means it is a vector quantity, okay. Now pictorial representation. How pictorially we can represent? Suppose you are given that it is given that a vector quantity force, its magnitude is 10 and 10 Newton, unit is Newton in SI system, and its direction is eastward. So how we can represent this force pictorially? In this way, we have drawn a line PQ. This PQ represent the value of PQ is represent 10 magnitude, okay, and unit is Newton, and this arrow gives the direction of this force, which is along, according to question, is east direction. So this is, we can represent pictorially vector A, force vector, like this. Draw a line, okay, magnitude of line, the value of that line gives the magnitude of this force, okay, and arrow gives the direction, indicates the direction of the force. Here PQ means 10 unit is Newton, okay, and arrow along the direction of east. So in this way we have to represent the vector pictorially, okay. Another example, if velocity is a vector quantity because it possesses both magnitude and direction. So we are representing v like this, write v, and over it we have to put arrow, okay, and it is given 5 meter north. Here n means north direction, okay, and 5 is magnitude value. So how we can represent like this, p dash q dash, we have drawn a line p dash q dash, okay. So here p dash, value of p dash q dash equal to 5, okay, magnitude, and this arrow gives the direction of this velocity, it means along the north direction. So in this way we have to represent the vector pictorially, okay. Now every vector now this is a vector pictorially we have represented a vector pq by using this, drawing this line p and q. Here s means we are calling this vector represent a displacement vector. S displacement is a vector quantity but distance is a scalar quantity, okay. Now this point, this p point is called tail point or initial point, okay, and this point q point is called head point or final point or, okay, or you can say end point, okay, or tip point something, okay. These are the different names by which we can call it. So p is called tail point and q is called head point. Maximum time we will use these two terms, okay. So every vector possesses one tail point and one head point, okay. So p is called initial point or tail point and q is called head point or final point, okay. Now suppose two vectors are given, f1 is a force 10 Newton, n here this n means Newton unit and n this n means direction, gives the direction north direction, and f2 another vector, its magnitude is 15 and direction is east direction. So how we represent these two vectors? Now f1 we have drawn, let this o a point and o b point. So oa represent the f1 vector, okay, and the value of oa is 10, okay, magnitude, gives the magnitude, and this direction is according to question north direction, arrow gives the direction, and ob, the value of ob gives the 15, it gives the magnitude of f2 vector, and arrow along the direction of east. So it gives the it shows the direction of this f2 vector along each direction. So angle between these two vectors, if we want to find, then it is equal to 90 degree. Okay. Now next come is order. It is very important. Okay. How to find? There are two types of order in case of vector. One is called same order, another is called opposite order. Now when we say that two vectors are in same order, when any tail point of, or you can say that when the head point of one vector is coincide with the tail point of another vector, then we say that the two vectors are in same order. Okay. And when they are opposite order, when head point of one vector is coincide with the head point of other vectors, is called opposite vector. Or you can say when tail point of one vector is coincide with the tail point of another vector, is called their opposite order. Okay. So just see this. We have representing two vectors. These are the vectors, like this vector p vector, this is q vector. Okay. The p vector is represented by AB line and this q vector is represented by CD line. Okay. Now when they are coincide, like AB, this is P vector A to B and this is CD vector. Okay? Now see here, head point of P vector, it's B, okay, and tail point of this Q vector is C. So now you see B and C point are coincide with each other. It means head point of P vector is coincide with the tail point of Q vector. So we can say that this P vector and Q vector are in same order. Okay, here. Now opposite order, again we are taking two vectors, P vectors represented by AB line and CD vector represented by the Q vector represented by CD line. Okay, now you see AB and BD. Here head point of this P vector, which is B, and head point of Q vector, which is C, is coincide with each other like this. Okay, so these two vectors are called in opposite order. Okay, clear? So you have to know these things also, means order. It is very important when we discuss about triangle law of vector addition and parallelogram law or polygon law of vector addition. We have to follow the order. Okay, so just go through these things, and in next I will discuss about the different types of vector. Okay.